Hello and welcome. Today I am marking a new era for my channel. I'm going to focus on technology of today and tomorrow, and so conveniently also name my new series. That does not mean I will discontinue with the previous videos of benchmark nature and others, but more that I will try to put out a more consistent and informational videos for wider public. It is not in my nature to be a consistent and productive at such levels, but I will try to do so, and furthermore challenge myself to set a new standard for the channel, and more importantly for myself. But enough of that, you clicked on this video to see what I have to say about Project Scorpio, so let's begin. As everyone by now is probably aware, Microsoft is releasing a new console titled Project Scorpio. It is somewhat the thought of upgrading the generation of current consoles era to the 4K. Sony has already done that by releasing PlayStation 4 Pro, but did it in fact do what they promised? Does it actually provide the content in 4K? Does it play the games at higher frame rates than before? And does it improve in quality where resolution and frames already met? Yes, they do. However, they could have done it better, and this is where Microsoft steps in. Not only is the new console stronger and better, it changes the rules of the game that are ran in the world of consoles. The architects at Microsoft really did work hard to prove what human minds, determination and hard work can accomplish. Not only is the new console better, it also makes for a tremendous improvement in the architectural design of the chip, its use and overall optimization of the whole system. To begin with, we're going to use the information Digital Foundry has provided for us, which is the sheer strength and power this new piece has yet to offer, being yet fully developed. We have already established that new consoles are supposed to be an upgraded version of the already known ones, so the users can enjoy 4K content or downsampled 1080p from 4K. But there is much more behind the curtains that Microsoft has put on for the show that we are soon to witness. In every section we look at, we can see that the PlayStation 4 Pro falls behind. To start with the core heart of the machine, the processor. The custom Jaguar 8-core processor by AMD is now even stronger. With only 2.3 GHz in comparison to the previous 1.75, to an average person that may seem as not big of an improvement, which truly isn't if we compare it to the world of PC machines, where such overclock would not suffice for some, albeit much better performance, since you would need an overclock of at least a GHz to get some definitive improvement. You have to pay in mind that this is not such world. Consoles differ from PCs in one main aspect, which is optimization, as one developer can truly use its power to the full 100% possibility, whereas that would never be possible on PCs, as there are too many different processors, graphics card, RAMs, and more combinations humanly possible. It is rather improbable for such optimization to occur. So if we return to the world of consoles, that, and I quote myself, slight overclock can mean a world of a difference. For there is much more hiding and lurking in the shadows than we can see. As of now, it's been 2 years since the release of Microsoft DirectX 12. Not much has been in honesty done for most PC games, yet enough for those who used AMD, as the performance there was seen to be increased by a certain measurable margin over DirectX 11 results. As for consoles, it means a bigger difference than ever before. The engineers have designed the console itself in such manner that every single thing is improved to the absolute limits, and they thought of every single detail possible to furthermore increase the performance. And we're just talking about the processor and barely getting started. As I stated before, they completely reworked the rules of the game and changed them forever. Now the processor uses a lot less instructions for the same results as before, resulting in simpler terms, better performance. Why? Because now, instead of wasting the extra performance that could have been used somewhere else, it's free to use for developers for their own needs and desires. As with DirectX 12, the actual usage will be spread more evenly and be able to use the system even better than before. It is a significant mark of a new era of gaming. And this is coming from a guy who has not touched a console in his life, but is now contemplating what consoles really mean in comparison to PCs. The lines are blurred and are getting shifted. With the said DirectX 12 improvements, one can now only expect much more power being harnessed for the games themselves, and with the already spoken slight improvement, again in quotations, we're going to be seeing much better results than ever before, and possibly more than we can imagine. The graphics card is now stronger than ever, stronger than PlayStation 4 Pro's one, which is holding quite well at 36 compute units clocked at 911 MHz. But not enough for Project Scorpio's 40 customized units at whopping 1172 MHz, a huge improvement over old and slow Xbox One 12 compute units clocked at merely 853 MHz. An upgrade so great that the game will now be able to be played at a 4K resolution with 60 frames on the average. How? Just how, you may ask, is that possible now? There's certainly some kind of a catch here. The price for the unit must be huge then, and we didn't even list all of the improvements. But no, it is not, my friends. As I have said before, and many others before me, to really outdo themselves at Microsoft. Nothing will ever be the same as it was before. Now with the improved performance in graphics department, one can run games as said already at 4K and 60 frames on average. Digital Foundry, Richard Leadbetter has provided us with some screenshot of early prototypes, so to speak, of the Forza Horizon 3 running in Project Scorpio system at 4K resolution with 60 frames on average and merely 66% of utilization, meaning there was plenty of headroom for further improvements to be made in graphics department, and it is only but a start of something great. Next, we have the memory. That was increased to 12GB of GDDR5 memory in comparison to the previous 8GB DDR3 on the Xbox One. Now developers can use up to 8GB of the said memory for their needs, which will surely come in handy. The bandwidth itself of the said memory is increased to 326 GB per second from the previous 204. All of this extra power will give the consoles a new life and customers a better experience than ever. There was also an improvement in the section of cooling. While many will probably not even care to bother about it, it means a lot better performance and overall experience for the use, as now the Project Scorpio will be using so-called vapor cooling, which not only increases the actual amount of cooling, it decreases the sound and so improves the use of consoles so much more, as we are not bothered by the loud sound. The cooling itself is somewhat we can already see on top lines NVIDIA graphics cards such as GTX 1080 and GTX 1080 Ti, so it is indeed a huge and more than welcomed improvement to the console. Last but not least, we have improved optical drive, which of course also reflects the current era and state of media. And as we know, the current optical drive can read up to 1080p content, but now with Project Scorpio one will be able to use 4K content. There is of course Xbox One S, but for this video we decided to stick with the original release of the same console, as upgrades are truly reflected when compared to its original child and origin. And with that, my dear viewers, I conclude this video. The Microsoft Project Scorpio will change the way world looks at consoles and truly change the rules of the game. I myself am pleasantly surprised at the improvements they made over the original release and how they all managed to crank it up in the space that is used by the said system. We are entering a new dawn for consoles. It was my pleasure to put this all out for you to enjoy as I put myself into new waters of video production. I hope you enjoyed this video. This was Navy speaking, and as always, Jock signing off. Have a good one.